How's it going, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome back to a brand new test hand video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Speedroids, and I realize I haven't done a test hand video for Speedroids in quite a while, but, you know, a few months ago I was kind of disappointed in this deck and wasn't too happy with the results it was giving me, but with a lot of testing and reworking of the build, I'm actually very happy where it is. And if you guys saw that combo guide I uploaded a few days ago, which you guys should probably check out, you could hear express, you know, how happy I am with this current deck. And you know how far this deck has come, and I've learned a lot of things about Speedroid, which is awesome because this is a very cheap deck and it's a very fun deck to play. And sometimes you can't really always find decks like that. Decks that are really fun, can put up decent boards, and also come at a very good price point as well. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do 5 random test hands, going first test hands with Speedroids. I hope you guys will enjoy, but before we go any further, I want to mention a quick shout out as always to our sponsor over at Imperium Duelist, provider of these amazing dice. Actually, their new line of dice here themed after classic spells and traps. Got the Raigeki one here, the Mirror Force one here. There's I believe 9 other dice in total, 11 altogether. So if you guys want to pick up some new dice, these dice are amazing. I love the color scheme, I love the designs on them. Obviously they look great. Probably my favorite dice to use as of right now. And if you're interested in picking up maybe a new 2-player cloth playmat, which can easily be folded over to suit one person, and it gives it a little weight to it so you know it doesn't slide all over the place. That's just my personal take. They've also got mat bags with artwork featuring Construct, Magispector Kieran, and I believe there's also an Exciton one as well. So if you guys want to pick up any of their accessories, deck boxes, whatever it may be, feel free to down at the link below, and you can use that discount code WinterKills10 off to save 10% on your entire order. On some, you know, really great tournament-ready sleeves for when you go back to locals, all that good stuff, and you're supporting the channel in the process, which is obviously great. So you guys save a little money and you help support me in the process. And same thing to be said about that TCG Player affiliate link down below if you guys want to help support the channel just by shopping on TCG Player at no extra cost to you. That is also a great way to do it. And lastly, consider hitting that join button down below to become a member of the channel. More information there if you want to go the extra mile and get some perks and rewards out of it in the process. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our first test hand here. Now I did a test hand before I actually turned the camera on, was able to end on Charge Warrior Crystal Wing with just Terrortop, Reborn, and a copy of Speed Recovery, and 2 extra call buys, man. That was actually my opening hand. Was able to end on Charge Warrior, Crystal Wing, or not Charge Warrior, Stardust Warrior and Crystal Wing. I don't play Charge Warrior anymore, but again, I digress. So hopefully we'll have that same type of luck going into this particular hand. We open up Dark Lure No More, Speedlift, Avarice, Double Yo-Yo, and a copy of Den Daiko Duke. So not the greatest start here, but you know, the Dark Ruler No More I feel is like a necessary evil, at least at this point in this deck. If sort of combo decks wind down through the next ban list, you know, I feel like maybe this card won't need to be mained, but like Speedroid is a deck that has a hard time breaking boards on its own. It doesn't really have too many great extenders that can push through a lot of negates, so I do like maining the Dark Ruler No More, although you could easily swap it for something like Pot of Desires if you wanted more consistency. And I've also bumped up Speedlift to 3 because I've started to realize that opening Sting the Poison and Speedlift is a very, very good combo. So I'm just trying to maximize on it. And I've made a huge, you know, turnaround on my thoughts about this card. I used to absolutely hate it. I used to think this card was garbage, but now that I've got a good starter sort of go along with it and pair with it, get some synergy with it, I like it a lot better. But we're going to have to use it in a bit of an unfortunate way here. We're going to have to Speedlift for our Den Daiko Duke, which is fine because we can use this to basically go grab Red Eye Die from the deck. Now, you're thinking, oh, probably could go get Taketomborg, but I'm also starting to learn with Speedroids it's oftentimes better to get Taketomborg off of Speedroid, or off of, not Speedroid, off of Terrortop. I can't speak English properly today. So we're going to link these two here for the Hi-Speedroid Rubberband Shooter. We're going to use his effect, obviously. And what am I going to banish? I'm going to banish a level 7 because I really want to get either the Terrortop to the grave or the Horse Stilts to our hand if we get, you know, one or the other to our hand. So this actually brings up a bit of an interesting, unique situation that I haven't really encountered before, or if I have, I really haven't paid attention to it. But we've actually opened Double Yo-Yo, and whereas I thought the quick fix would just be just to go Terrortop and Horse Stilts by banishing Clearwing, if we get Terrortop to hand, there's really not a whole lot extra we can do because we can't really get full advantage of our double Yoyo because we'll have to revive Daiko Duke, which doesn't get us any further into our combo. Alright, so in this situation, instead of going for Stilts Terrortop, I think I'm actually going to go for Marble Machine Rubberband Plane because, you know, I think we get off a little easier if we get either of these, whereas if we get Horse Stilts, we really lose out on quite a bit because we don't really have any other ways to extend past that. So I think I'm just going to go Rubberband Plane and Marble Machine, and we'll just go from there and see which one of these two we get. So we're going to randomly decide here. We'll go odd here, even here. We'll roll the Raigeki die, and it rolls an even, so we get this card here on the right, and this one will go to the grave, which is actually fine. It's actually almost like favoring getting Rubberband Plane a little bit more than I was that of, you know, the latter. So either way, we'll use our additional normal summon here on the double Yoyo. And what do we want to bring out here? So what I'm going to bring out is the Red-Eyed Die, and I'm not going to use its level manipulation effect because I'd like to keep this a level 4 for the time being. And then on that special summon, we'll bring out the Rubberband Plane. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and synchro these two into a copy of the Hagoita. Hagoita, I'm finding, as always, being a key combo piece, so we'll put that right there. And now at this point, we're going to go ahead and use the Daiko Duke to summon out Red-Eyed Die. And we're going to go ahead and we have a few options here. We could either make this a level 2 or this a level 2. I'm going to make the Hagoita a level 2 so we can synchro into none other than the Martial Metal Marcher, and we can start doing some shenanigans there, because this will essentially allow us to bring back the Red-Eyed Die, and then once we have the Speedroid Tuner on the board, we can bring back out the Hagoita. And with that being said, we can synchro these two off and do a copy of the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, just like this. We'll put it over here. We can put it in defense mode if we were worried about cards like Lightning Storm. And then we can synchro this 1 and this 5 into a copy of the Speedroid, not Speedroid Raptite, I mean, might as well be Speedroid Raptite, but Adamancipator Risen Raptite. And just like that, we have ourselves 2 Interruption board with Avarice to refuel our hand next turn, and a Dark Ruler No More to perhaps, you know, put a stop to any rebuttal our opponent may have during the next turn. So let's go ahead and use this Pot of Avarice. I definitely want to keep Hagoita in the grave, just because. Marble Machine can stand to go back into the deck. Red-Eyed Die can stand to go back into the deck. Same thing with the Rubberband Plane and the double Yoyo. I want to keep the Hagoita again because Hagoita is something we can reuse later on in a future combo. If we get any Speedroid Tuner out onto the field, you know, Hagoita can just come back for free, essentially. That's why I love it so much. I know Kendama has a similar effect, the level 6 Speedroid, but you need to control no monsters, I believe, to bring that back. And obviously, in some cases, may or may not be the best situation to bring back at least one monster, so I don't know. I like level 6 synchros in this deck. I like Charge Warrior, I like Raptite a lot. I've been liking Raptite quite a bit. Sniping Rays out of the graveyard, sniping Block Dragons, Invocations, whatever it may be. And yeah, it's come up quite a bit, and a lot of those testing sessions matches, Raptite was incredible. So let's go ahead and see what we get here. We'll give the deck a cut and see what we draw. We draw Taketomborg and another Rubberband Plane. So that's actually not too terrible. You know, one thing we could actually do is continue to combo. But if I've learned anything, it's probably best to stop here. If you watch that testing sessions, they're going to go Nibiru once I continue to extend, and then they're going to have a Valor for my Crystal Wing, and then I've just burned the last 2 cards that I had to go in with. But what we could do essentially is, you know, Taketomborg out for something like another Red-Eyed Die and make, you know, a Clear Wing. Clear Wing Fast Dragon really be the only thing we'd want to make there, but I'm not going to go ahead and extend any further. You could if you want to, but I think I'm going to hold the cards that I have on me for the time being. So I'm going to go ahead and reset everything, and we'll go ahead and get into the next test hand. Alright, the deck has been shuffled, everything reset. Let's go ahead and draw into our second test hand of the video and see what we got. Dark Ruler No More, Sting the Poison, Foolish Burial, Speedroid Marble Machine, and a copy of Horse Stilts. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. The only thing we're missing with this hand is a nice copy of Speedlift. I never thought I would say that in a Speedroid video, but it would be really, really good right here. So we're going to start with Sting the Poison. Now, theoretically, what happens if they hand trap this? Well, we're in not a good spot. We have a Foolish Burial as a bit of a backup, but it's not much of a backup. Another route would be to Horse Stilts into Marble Machine, but again, we're met with the same problem. If the Horse Stilts gets met with a hand trap, you know, we're kind of in a bad spot. Foolish Burial, not going to help us extend too much. I've been a little divided when it comes to certain key spell cards within the main deck. I do like Foolish Burial for setting up Daiko Duke, Tempest, or other tuners like Red-Eye Die, but in some cases I've also liked 1-for-1, as it can allow you to get an extra extender out of the deck. So, I don't know. 1-for-1 I actually just cut for a 3rd Speedlift, so maybe going forward I'll probably put this card back into the main deck. And also, I should have mentioned this earlier, but the deck list that I'm using will be down in the description below for anyone who wants the exact list that I'm using in this video. But either way, you know, let's hope they don't hand trap the first thing that they see. And let's go with the Sting the Poison. Obviously, again, every scenario where we get hand trapped here, it is pretty unfortunate. Now, if this Foolish Burial becomes something like 1-for-1, the first hand trap here really doesn't matter because we can just ditch, per se, the Marble Machine and summon out a Daiko Duke, and we're pretty much where we want to be. So, but again, it really just, you know, we could have also drawn a Call by the Grave instead. That's where things can also change. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. This could be a hand where Foolish Burial could come in absolutely clutch as well, so you never know. So we're going to add Pin the Bullseye, and we're going to link these two right off because there's no other steps we need to take here. We're going to banish a 7. I'm going to banish Fast Dragon this time to show Clearwing a little love, because I always banish him. And we're going to reveal Terrortop and the Yoyo, and it's nice here because we have Horse Stilts in hand, and it really does not matter what we get off of this this card. It really makes no difference. If we get Terrortop, sure. If we get double Yoyo, all fine and dandy. So let's flip these over. Let's roll the Mirror Force die and see what we get. Odd on the left, even on the right. We'll take a roll, and it is odd. So we get the card on the right, and we get Terrortop to our hand, the double Yoyo falling to the graveyard, which is completely fine, because again, we can use our extra normal summon now on Horse Stilts, and that's going to bring out this copy of Terrortop. Terrortop will activate to add us a copy of Taketomborg, and Taketomborg can tag out into any tuner we need it to be. So we don't have access to any tuners right now, any Speedroid tuners that is. I mean, we have the Sting the Poison in the graveyard, but it's not tuning us too good in the graveyard. We don't have any Reborn spells with this hand either, so it's something we want to take into account. So we can go ahead and Taketomborg here. We'll tag this out into, like I said, a tuner, and I'm going to go for Red-Eye Die, and we can basically just Foolish, you know, the Daiko Duke that we need to the graveyard. So now we basically need to figure out, do we want to change the levels of anything here at the moment? That is probably the most key question here, because I feel like at this particular point, whatever you do, there's so many branching paths that you could go down. There really just is. We could make this a level 2 and make Marcher, and then bring this back and make, you know, Hagoita, and, you know, keep going from there, which actually is something I think I might do. So we're going to make this Terrortop a level 2. There's probably a Blazar combo that could be made somewhere here if we kept this a level 3. Yeah, there's probably definitely a Blazar combo that can be made, but again, I still don't know how I feel about Blazar to this day. But it is nice because, again, it does offer a spell or trap negation, which it is a wind monster. I know some people suggest, you know, Dawn Dragster, but the problem is you're probably never always going to be able to make Dawn Dragster because it's not a wind monster. That's this deck's biggest crutch, is the lack of good wind support. So we're going to dump Daiko Duke. We're going to synchro these, and this is a beautiful little sequence right here I love doing. You know, going into Marcher, Marcher brings back Die, and you've already got your level 4 set up, and you can just go right into a copy of Hagoita, just like that. And then we're going to synchro these into, obviously, a Crystal Wing being one of the most versatile and, you know, all well-rounded cards that we can go into, a nice interruption. And then we can go ahead and use Daiko Duke here, banish it to bring out this copy of the Red-Eye Die. And then with that, we can bring Hagoita back alongside of it, link these two off, again, into one of the more consistent end boards I've been able to pull off with this deck recently, Crystal Wing Raptite with Marble Machine and a Dark Ruler No More in hand for next turn. And taking a look at our graveyard, we also have a Horse Stilts engraved, which we can use to dump any wind monster we want from our deck into the grave. We could put another, you know, another Daiko Duke to bring the Red-Eye Die out to make, you know, a Clearwing. You know, we could use it to dump Tempest and, you know, do plays from there, you know, in combination whatever we get off of our Marble Machine. So that's it for that test hand. again, we probably could have done the Blazar route, but like I feel like, you know, 2 heads is better than 1. And it also really depends on the matchup. If you know the deck your opponent is playing maybe relies on a few key spells, right? Maybe you're really worried about Shaddoll Fusion, right? These 2 cards aren't going to help you with Shaddoll Fusion. You know, you gotta really pick and choose your battles. I know there was a time where I've ended on Blazar and Fast Dragon, but that was a full 5-card combo. So you can't always expect to have those type of boards happen. But it's just all about, you know, the finding whichever board really you think will work best for you, or for whatever deck you're playing against. But I think Raptite and Crystal Wing is a pretty well balanced board, just because of the graveyard threat. It's very unique sort of interaction that you can have with this deck, as opposed to like other end boards. And I'm also almost shuffling my extra deck into the main deck here, but. Other cards I thought about playing was the Chevalier de Fleur, but the biggest problem with that card is it only offers an interruption during your turn. I remember when I first read that card, I panic bought it because I was like, yo, I think I just did something incredible with Speedroids, and then I got the card, or actually not even when I got the card, it looked like an hour later after I bought it. It was really cheap, so it's not too big of a deal, but you know, it only negates during your turn, which is unfortunate. So, but anyways, I digress. Enough chatting, let's go ahead and do our next test hand of the video. Alright, deck has been shuffled, everything reset. Let's go ahead and start our 3rd test hand of the video and see if we can end on something that isn't Crystal Raptite. Let's see, Call by the Grave, Horse Stilts, another Call by the Grave, a Speed Recovery, and a Terrortop. Alright, so this hand, despite it looking pretty weird, is really good. Obviously, having the Terrortop makes it leaps and bounds better. So yeah, we're just having to roll with this. We could start with Horse Stilts into Terrortop, but I kind of want to just go Terrortop first, and see what we can get off of it, essentially, or what we can do first with the Terrortop. Alright, so we'll start with Terrortop, like I said, and we'll use its effect here, and we're going to go ahead and search. We can search the Taketomborg, we'll special summon that, and we'll tribute it off to go for a copy of Red-Eyed Die. I like Red-Eyed Die a little bit more because it's a little more versatile, I find, than other tuners, at least Daiko Duke. I usually like to get Daiko Duke a little later on, and sometimes I find I can just do the whole combo with just Red-Eyed Die. So we're going to go with Rubberband Shooter. I'm going to banish a 7 this time around. I'm going to go for the Clearing Fast Dragon, again, because I like getting options for 4 and 3. And the 4 and 3 I'm going to get is Yoyo. Obviously, I'm not going to get Taketomborg here. I am going to get Daiko Duke so we can sort of complete that chain of, you know, tuner action, that extra extender via Daiko Duke. So we'll go ahead and roll here, odd, even, as always. Odd on the left, even on the right. We'll roll the Raigeki die. Odd, so odd on the left, we get Daiko Duke to the hand, and the double Yo-Yo falls to the grave, which is, again, it's completely fine, because we have this clutch copy of Horse Stilts, and we use that effect for the extra normal summon. Oh, what's that effect, Valor? We got the Call by the Grave. But either way, we're bringing out the Daiko Duke, and really our only option right now is to go ahead and Synchro into a level 7. Now, what level 7 do we want to Synchro in? Do we want to go right to Clearwing? Do we want to go to Wind Pegasus at Ignister? To potentially, you know, climb up into a Crystal Wing. That's probably what I'm going to do. I like that extra layer of protection, especially since we can sort of continue to extend. So even at this point, there's already a lot of options on the table. The first being to play Speed Recovery to bring out really any of our Speedroid monsters in our graveyard, minus these guys and minus the Taketomborg. So we could bring out the Yo-Yo, the Stilts, the Terrortop, and then we could use the Daiko Duke to bring out Die to modify its level. We could go into something like Martial Metal Marcher. That'll bring the tuner back. Make Stardust Charge Warrior, or not Stardust, I always get it confused, Stardust Warrior with the Wind Pegasus and the Marcher. It would be really good, though, if we could get a copy of Hagoita on the board also. Mainly make Hagoita, you know, with, make Marcher with Hagoita. Then we could possibly end on Raptite, Stardust Warrior, but I think we're just shy on extenders. Because the only other route I'm seeing currently would be to go for something per se like Daiko Duke out right now, make, you know, Crystal Wing, and there's really not much else we can do there. So yeah, we do have a few options, but we're overall pretty limited in what the difference in our end board can be. Like I said, the only option I can see right now is to either Daiko Duke to bring out the red-eyed die to make, Crystal Wing with Wind Pegasus, or we could speed recovery for Horse Stilts, then Daiko Duke, and then modify the level of what we bring out to be a level 2 to make Marcher, and then Marcher could bring back the red-eyed die if we so desire, and then we can make a protected Stardust Warrior. So it really is pick your poison right here. I'm going to go with the Horse Stilts. We'll bring that out via speed recovery. And then we're going to go ahead and Daiko Duke to bring out Red-Eyed Die. And again, like our only options here are to basically make this a level 2, to make Marcher, or make it, not change its level. Or we could, make it a 6 and make another 7. We can make like Clear Wing, but then we don't really have anything to do with the Wind Pegasus. So I am going to make this just a level 2, and we're going to synchro these into Martial Metal Marcher. And then we'll just synchro off these and do a copy of a protected Stardust Warrior, which is not super bad, coming out at 2,500 defense, and we have, again, the extra protection from Wind Pegasus. So overall, not too bad. We did have a call buy for that opening hand too, which is pretty nice. And yeah, so let's go ahead and do another test hand. All right, so the deck has been shuffled. I believe we're going to go into our 4th test hand of the video here and see what we can make possible. Taketomborg, Speedlift, Call by the Grave, Speedlift, and Sting the Poison. I was wondering when we were going to open Sting the Poison and Speedlift. I was pretty much waiting for it this entire time, so we finally did manage to open it. We're going to start with Sting the Poison. We have Call by the Grave, which is very, very nice. We're going to go ahead and resolve that effect, of course, to go ahead and search Pin the Bullseye. Don't want to do anything else other than that except for play the Speedlift. Speedlift is going to go grab a copy of Daiko Duke for later. And then we're going to go ahead and special summon Pin the Bullseye. We're not going to special summon Taketomborg yet, because I'm just going to try to hold on to that for a later time. So we're going to go ahead and link these two off, leaving this Sting the Poison onto the board. And we're going to go for Rubberband Shooter, and we're going to banish a copy of Clearwing Fast Dragon. Now, a little thought that sort of popped into my head in between the last test and this one was thinking about dropping Cosmic Blazar overall, because I realized in that last test hand, we could have made 2 level 7 synchros had I had, like, we could have made, per se, like, Fast Dragon and Clearwing. But I'm only playing 1 Clearwing in this particular list because, A, I wanted to make room for the Wind Pegasus, because I think this card is great to go into when you're following up into a Crystal Wing. But again, the Cosmic Blazar package takes up like 2 slots. You needing Puzzle and needing Cosmic Blazar itself. So if I were to technically remove them, which I might, we would have had room to do that. So keep that in mind. That's one thing I wanted to mention. I do want to try to find a way to fit that other Clearwing in here for those situations. But right now, it's just sort of not... it's not really clicking yet what I should do. I like Blazar for everything it offers. It does offer a solid spell and Trap Negate, but... I don't know. I don't know what my stance on is right now going forward. And I might drop it. I might not. I don't know. But yeah, so we're going to continue on. We're going to manage the Clearwing Fast Dragon. We're going to reveal some cards from our deck. Now, I'm actually going to fully go with the double Yoyo and Terrortop here. I'm still going to go with that because at this point, we have Taketomborg in our hand. And if we get double Yoyo, we're going to be in a really good position. If we don't, we're going to be okay because we can still get an extra search off of Terrortop and still get Taketomborg out on the board, which is nice. So we're going to roll the die here. Odd or even, odd on this side, even on this side as always. We'll go ahead and roll. That's a 6. What do we get? We get double Yoyo. Couldn't have asked for a better outcome. So the extra normal summon goes to the Yoyo. That brings this out. This searches. I'm going to search the Red-Eyed Die because we are going to need this card 100%. And then we're going to special summon Taketomborg here. And Taketomborg could tag out and go for, another copy of Red-Eyed Die. Technically we could add off of our Terrortop, a copy of Rubberband Plane, which actually might be the better move here, like 100%. And then on that summon, we can summon out Rubberband Plane. So we have a lot of things we can do. And also, one thing to mention is on the summon of the Terrortop, or on the summon of the Red-Eyed Die, and with the effect of the Rubberband Plane, we're going to make this Terrortop a level 2, because we're going to synchro these guys into a copy of Martial Metal Marcher. This will bring back Red-Eyed Die. And we can synchro with these into a copy of Hagoita. And we'll just go for, obviously, a nice little Crystal Wing right here. Our first Crystal Wing. Then at this point, we can go ahead and use the Daiko Duke in the grave to go ahead and banish itself, to go ahead and bring out Red-Eyed Die. And then with that, we can bring out the copy of the Hagoita to go along with it. Now, we have a few options here. We can synchro into, now here we have a few options. We could obviously make, like, Raptite Clear Wing. We could make, Crystal Wing and just leave this if we wanted double Crystal Wing. But I think I'm going to go for, the obvious board that I think would be most optimal to end on. Crystal Wing with Clear Wing. And again, we could do a second Crystal Wing if we wanted to. And then synchro these guys into a copy of Raptite, just like that. So we have a Monster Negate. We have essentially another Monster Negate and a protection for any of our level 5 or higher monsters. And we basically have a Call by the Grave, a second Call by the Grave to go along with that. And do we have a Horse Stilts in Grave? We do not. So we don't have really any follow-ups other than the Speedlift that we have on board. But then again, we do have an active Hagoita in the graveyard, which is always pretty nice. So that's a pretty solid end board there, if you ask me. I knew we were going to be able to pop off a little bit. We probably maybe could have done like a Blazar play there on top of that. But again, 3 heads is technically better than 2 in my, from the way I'm looking at it. And we're just getting more value out of, not dumping all of our resources into one Cosmic Blazar. But again, it kind of just depends. All right, so I've just done about enough shuffling here as we go into our last test hand. And now, speaking back to that last hand we had, we could have done Blazar there, but the way I at least played it out, we could have just ended on Blazar with Sting the Poison and Rubberband Shooter. And yes, that might be cool, but I don't think it's better than Clear Wing, Crystal Wing, Raptite. I just don't think it is. And both boards are going to lose to Dark Ruler no more anyways, so I think going forward, with the realizations I've had in this little test hand video, is I'm probably going to cut the Blazar package from the deck, because I just don't really find it to be too worthwhile. And as we open this last monstrosity of a hand here, it's not too bad, actually. Our Speedlift is live, which is great. So we're going to commit our normal summon, unfortunately, to Daiko Duke and hope nothing goes south. Now, if they did have a hand trap for this, we can still follow up with Taketomborg, which is nice. But I'm going to go for Red-Eyed Die, because we basically just have a free Monster Reborn setup with a Red-Eyed Die. We're not going to manipulate any levels, because how bad would that feel if you go to use this as a joke and then you Ghost Ogre and then you start to cry a little bit. But I digress. We're going to go into Rubberband Shooter. Now, what do we want to get from this here? Do we want double Yoyo? Do we want like a Horse Stilts instead? And, getting some other extender. I think maybe what I want to do here is still possibly go for Terrortop Yoyo, because even if we don't get Terrortop, or even if we don't get Yoyo, we still get Terrortop with Taketomborg and an extra card to follow up on that from whatever we search off the Terrortop. So I'm still gonna go for Yoyo, Terrortop, and sort of roll the dice here, literally. See if we can get lucky like we did in our last hand, and, end on, 3 interruptions with Speedroids, and with some cards left in hand, too, which is pretty much unheard of in my mind. So we're going to go ahead, just mix these up a bit, odd, even. We'll go ahead and roll. We roll an even number, so that is this card here. We get the Terrortop, and the double Yoyo will go to the grave, which is fine. We'll use our additional normal summon on the Terrortop. We'll use this effect to search and figure out here what we want to search. I'm going to go for the Rubberband Plane as an additional extender. We'll go with Taketomborg, and then we'll hit this on the board as well. We'll use Taketomborg here to tag out into another tuner, and I'm going to go for a second copy of, look at all the Sting and the Poisons chilling together. Only making 1 appearance this entire video, but I mean, it ended on a pretty good board, I must say. So we're going to go with the not Pin the Bullseye, what am I doing? Got mixed up with the Red-Eyed Die. So we'll go with Red-Eyed Die. And do we want to use its effect here? This is a question. Now, From here, there is a limited scope of what we can do, but I think the best thing to do is not going to be going for a Martial Metal Marcher route, because that would entail going, these two, I think, ideally into Marcher to bring back the level 1, make Raptite here, and then, maybe do something else after that, but I really don't think there's a whole lot we can do. Maybe there's room for a possible Hagoita play, maybe like going for Hagoita here, and then, using Red-Eye Die to bring out the die again, make Hagoita 2. So from here, there's a few options, as you might have expected. The first being with this summon here, to make this a level 4 to go into Hagoita, but that route will lead to ultimately Crystal Raptite, which we've pulled off a few times already in this video. Another route would be to make this a level 6, and then to synchro these two into a copy of Clearwing. And now this is where essentially having, also forgot to banish our Clearwing from the extra deck for the Rubberband shooter effect, but either way, we could still make Terrortop a level 6 to go into Fast Dragon, and then still use the Daiko Duke in the Grave to bring back Red-Eye Die to make this also a level 6 to synchro into another level 7 synchro, like a second copy, if we were to play one, a second copy of Clearwing Synchro Dragon. And I think that's where probably cutting the Hi-Speedroid Puzzle and the Blazar Dragon from the extra deck would be pretty justified to be able to end on a board like this, because otherwise we go with Crystal Raptite, which isn't bad, but again, for the sake of mixing things up, I wanted to show this sort of alternate route here. But either way, that's going to do it for this test hand video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to, of course, leave a like down in the comments below, and maybe tell me what could have been done with some other boards. But if I've learned anything from this particular video, I think it's Blazar and Puzzle. Probably going to go out of the extra deck. I'm probably going to put a second Clearwing in favor of Puzzle, and I'm probably going to put Stardust Charge Warrior back into the main deck in some instances where you're making, multiple Crystal Wings and you want a level 6 to go into, to go in with something like, Sting the Poison, and you don't want to waste your Raptite. So I think that's probably what I'll do. Because again, I just don't think it's worth it. The only other time I've ended on Blazar plus something else has been with a ridiculous 5-card hand. And I would just like to free up the extra deck space, I guess, is all. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I've been really enjoying doing the Speedroid stuff lately, and I hope you guys are as well. And if you are, be sure to, of course, leave a like and check out our sponsors down in the description below. But yeah, as always, guys, Winterkill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, a special thanks to my Divine Level channel members here on YouTube, Academic Thick, Travis Harris, and Zors. Thank you guys so much for the generous support.